Good morning and welcome to the 15 minutes Chassidus Shir. It's only 15 minutes in quantity. We hope it'll be a qualitative effect on the whole day. We're starting a new mimer. It's Ani L'Doidi, Tavshin Chavav. And it's about Elul. As a Hakdama, the month of Elul traditionally has always been the focus on what's coming after Elul is Yomim Noraim. It's always been a bit of a Yeridika time, a time where there's a cloud of great seriousness and even being scared of what's going to come on Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are days of judgment, and the preparations for that are in tune with the theme of these days of awe. That's been, however, when the Alter Rebbe in Melukat, when he writes about Ani L'Doidi, and he introduces a totally different outlook, and that's based on his mashal is of the Melech Basada, that the king comes into the field to get closer to and to help the people of the field get ready to come back with him to the palace. We'll talk about the mashal more in the mimer. So with this comes a whole different approach to what Elul is. It is permeated with a seriousness, but there's a deeper aspect of connectivity and closeness to Hashem. And Hashem is looking to help the Yid get closer to Hashem, to Him, and for the Yid to find within himself his neshama, that the neshama is able to shine through more in a preparation for Rosh Hashanah. We're going to learn in this mimer that the theme of Elul is the avodah of the Yid. He puts himself into his service to Hashem. And we blow shofar during Elul to remind us that Rosh Hashanah is coming. The minig from the Baal Shem Tov is that we say 3 extra kapitlach tilim every day of Elul. The first day, Aleph through Gimel, then Dalet through Vav, etc. So there's a preparation that we do in a spiritual preparation in this way, of practical application in this way, besides all the other things that are involved in adding in the learning of Torah and in davening and in stakin, and many people check their tefillin and mezuzahs in the month of Elul. So we have all these practical applications. At the same time, there's a deeper aspect that this mimer is going to bring out of the closeness that there is of Hashem to the Yid in such a way that's different to your Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. And it's in preparation for Rosh Hashanah. The beginning, the first Elul that we have recorded is when Moshe Rabbeinu was on Har Sinai for the third time. And during that third time, he went up for 3 sets of 40 days. The third time was when the Shems closest to the Yidden was shining through again. And that was called days of Yemei Rotzen and Yemei Rachamim. That the Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, Hashem's Rachamim, was shining down upon the Jewish people. This is the Torah tells us that when Moshe was on Har Sinai and he saw Hashem, Yud Gimel Midas Rachamim, he said to Hashem, "Who are these? These are for the tzaddikim." And Hashem says, no, it's for everybody, even Rishonim. Later, after the Chet HaEgel, Moshe wanted to invoke these Yud Gimel Sarachimim, and he said to Hashem, you've got this Yud Gimel Sarachimim, this tremendous, unlimited love for Yidden. So Hashem told him, you said it's for tzaddikim. And he says, but you said Hashem is for Rishonim too. And so there's this unlimited love, bond, and Rachmanis that there is coming from Hashem, an Ligvul, that shines through the month of Elul. How does it come through? It comes through in a way that helps the Yid realize that his whole being is that of a Yid. Ani lo nivreisi ela l'shamash eskoni. I'm created just to serve Hashem. That's my whole purpose. And therefore, in this month of Elul, there's this help that Hashem gives us in order to bring this out even more. And so we'll start the Maamarim. Ani l'doidi v'doidi li Rosh Tevis Elul. This is well documented that the pasuk from Shir Hashim, Ani l'doidi, I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me, Rosh Tevis Elul. This is brought down in many Sfarim, that the first letter of each word spells Elul. Bavur b'Lekutei Torah b'mayim divrei maschil zeh, and the Alter Rebbe in Lekutei Torah explains on this divrei maschil hashaychus the Elul la'ani l'doidi v'doidi li. He says, what's Elul got to do with these words? I am to Hashem, Hashem is to me. That ki be'elul hu isrusa de l'sata, ani l'doidi. That the main theme of Elul is that ani l'doidi, I am towards Hashem. He says, isrusa de l'sata, an arousal from below. That's one piece. Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippurim, and Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is the second half of the pasuk. V'doidi li, he hamshachim u'mayla l'mata isrusa de la'ela v'doidi li. That's isrusa de la'ela. So we have these two words, isrusa de l'sata, isrusa de la'ela. Isrusa means arousal. In other words, it refers to the avodah of the yid. The yid's avodah. That's depicted by Ani l'doidi, his move towards Hashem. That's that movement. And then you have the response. The response coming from that is a serusa la'ela, an arousal from Hashem. In other words, a gili elokus coming from above. Now, in this context, the two are linked. That depending on what the yid does, that elicits from above a connection to Hashem. So, how a yid serves Hashem in Elul, that's got to do with, that affects what happens on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Our relationship with Hashem and with all the Gili Elokus, the Hamshachos Achais, that happens on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is linked into how we serve Hashem in Elul. It's not that, okay, we do Elul as some separate avodah, that adding stock and learning Torah. That's one thing. Now comes Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. It's a brand new thing. It's something different. I drove my bicycle till here, and now I'm going to get into a helicopter. Two separate things that aren't related. That's not the case. Both are part of the word Elul. That the first part, Ani l'doidi, has got to do with the avodah in Elul, Irshus de l'sata. And as a hemshech to that, you've got v'doidi li, the Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. That the two are linked together. We're an active, fluid relationship, and it's reciprocal as we're serving Hashem. That the drawing down of the revelation of Hashem to us on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is through the Yisrusut L'Sat of Elul. And that's why the whole theme of Elul is Yisrusut L'Sat, the work that the Yid puts in himself, that comes from within him. And that's why Elul is the Rosh Tevis, both Ani l'doidi v'doidi li. It's including Rosh Hashanah, Shegam d'v'doidi li, the second half of the pasuk, Nichlul Gam, Nichlul b'Rosh Tevis Elul, v'doidi li, referring to Rosh Hashanah. Hashem shines upon us. That is included in Elul. Why? Because the key is a rusa de l'sata sheba Elul, the arousal from below, the Yid's work in Elul, Ani l'doidi, hu gam hakudom al hamshocha v'doidi li sheba Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippur. Because this work that a Yid does in Elul is also a preparation to this that happens on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. And that if you would be if we wouldn't do anything Elul, and now all of a sudden Rosh Hashanah comes and says, "Oh, I remember it's Rosh Hashanah. I better get my clothing ready for Rosh Hashanah. You better take out the machzor and jump into Rosh Hashanah, that's one way of doing it. But it's lacking the whole preparation. In order for us to appreciate what's Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, we've got to have the Achana from Elul. And also it affects the spiritual relationship. It's a different dynamic, even from Hashem's perspective in the higher Eilumas. How does a Yid conduct himself in Elul? That's walking down, so to speak, the road to be able to get up into what Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is. In the mashal that the Alter Rebbe brings in Melukat Torah, says the king comes into the field. He leaves the palace, comes into the field, and he wants to help all the Yidden that are in the field, depicting regular people that aren't tzaddikim. They're involved in gashmis, and they have a life of that it's with working with family. They're living in Olam Haza as a regular Yidden, and then. But as it comes into the field, he wants that they should be able to come back with him into the palace. Into the palace refers to Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, that we're getting together to be in the theme of recognizing, number one, that there's Hashem who's the creator, that's more meaningful and shines through much more, and that we as Yidden have a neshama that's connected to Hashem in this unique way. And not just that it shows up sometimes, but it becomes a complete part of who we are all the time. And so here now the Rebbe asks this question, which is what is interestingly how he leads into the unique aspect of this mimer. V'tzorich bir ki mizer she'ha'oisius vav lamed Rosh Tevis v'dei li heimet tevis el atzmo. This that you have, the last two letters, Vav Li, they're part of the word Elul. So, and we said that means the Gili Mulmaila, refers to the Gili of Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. So this Gili Mulmaila is part of the Rosh Tevis of Elul. So till now we said that Elul includes Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Why? Because your Aveda Elul relates to and it's connected to what happens Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Here, the Rebbe is asking the opposite direction. Since you have Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, in other words, that shows on a revelation from above. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur depict this is Hashem's revelation into the world. Hashem decides what's going to happen in the whole universe. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. It's a gili from above. Now, that's included in the word Elul. So therefore, it's mashma shebechodesh Elul hu lo yirak hakadama levedei li. It comes out that El is not only a hakadama, a preparation for V'dei Li, for Hashem shining through Elo shebechodesh Elul hu gam inyan v'V'dei Li. The Rosh Hashanah is also the inyan. In Elul you also have some aspect of V'dei Li, a revelation from above, in Elul as well. So we have here setting the theme of the Maamar, two things. That the main inyan of Elul, as the Alter Rebbe writes in Melukat Torah, is Avodas Atachten, the Yisrus Delasata, the Avodah, the effort that the Yid puts in. That's number one. That's the theme. That's what Elul is. It's not a revelation coming from above, like you have Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, that there's special tefillas, and you go to shul, and there's the shofar, and it's all Yidden are attracted all over the world. The shuls fill up Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. It's a special day. Something's in the air that Yid goes to shul Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Not so Elul. Elul is the time when in order to, we need to put the work in ourselves. Realize, think that Rosh Hashanah is coming and get ready for Rosh Hashanah. That's the main thing. Together with that, though, Elul hints to that there's some revelation from above. Because in the Rosh Tevis, Elul, you have a V'dei Li, which depicts the revelation from above too. We'll continue Mitzvah Hashem next year in Oispace. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful day.